In this lecture, we will see which are the 5 thinking skills that you need to apply in your own field. We teach that great security decisions are based on 5 key critical thinking skills that enable us to assess hard security problems, anticipate the unexpected, and avoid disastrous mistakes. The first one is challenge your key assumptions. Now, what is meant by that? This is a systematic effort to explicitly list and challenge the fundamental presuppositions or mental model that underlies your interpretation of evidence or reasoning. You have to list your working assumptions, then assess whether each is solid. That is, solid means you would commit the resources based on it. Then it requires some civets, which may be true in some instances but not in all, or whether the assumption is unsupported by valid arguments. Then you refine the list as you learn more or circumstances change, and consider whether your key uncertainties should be converted into collection requirements or research topics. The next one is you always have to consider the alternative applications. Now, why it is important? Our brains are amazing organs that can make sense of situations based on a few pieces of information, but not considering missing data and potential alternatives can lead us down a wrong path from which our natural biases will prevent us from recovering. Therefore, it is always necessary to circumspect the entire scenario before making any decision. Our mindsets become entrenched and we only see the situation in one way. You can easily develop alternative explanations by just stating your lead hypothesis or brainstorming alternatives that span the full range of possibilities from most negative to most positive. Then you can also break your lead hypothesis into its key components following a questionized structure like who did it, what was the outcome, when it was happened, where it took place, and why it was happened. Creating a null hypothesis by establishing in your mind the opposite of lead hypothesis, something is or it is not. Then the third major critical thinking skill is you have to look for inconsistent data. That is, evaluate data. This is the crux of a scientific method. You do not have to be a scientist performing a controlled experiment to use it. Your brain will naturally try to fit disparate pieces of data into a story or lead hypothesis. But if you have more than one hypothesis, you can assess the data against each possibility to see which data is disconfirming and how significant it is in challenging the common wisdom. The fourth one is you have to identify the key drivers. You have to identify which things are leading to you for a specific solution. Characterizing the driving forces at play in a situation can help you anticipate the future and reduce the chances you will be taken completely by surprise. Varying the weights of these key drivers can generate credible alternative scenarios that capture the range of possible outcomes. You can track which scenario is developing through indicators that meet the 5 criteria, that is observable and collectible, valid, reliable, stable, and unique. Uniqueness is difficult to meet, but it should be always a goal. And the last one is understand the context. See, before applying a decision, you have to make sure you understand on what basis are you going to apply. You should first understand the background behind it. Then only it is possible to make correct decisions. Learning to stop and reflect on the overreaching context is the fifth skill, but arguably perhaps the most critical. You are better off learning how to think above your pay grade at the start by putting yourself in the shoes of your managers, colleagues, and clients. Ask yourself, what do they need from me? How I can help frame the issue? And do I need to place their questions in a broader context? Simpler framing questions help and it can keep you and your colleagues in synchronization. It also helps in ensuring that coordination is as easy as possible, and it avoids having to reconceptualize projects when they are well underway. Now, these critical thinking skills help you deal with the full range of security problems from cyber and insider threats to protecting sensitive facilities. You can make better decisions, collaborate more efficiently, and be prepared for the worst if you frame projects avoid analytic traps, stimulate creative alternatives, and make compelling arguments for countermeasure enhancement. So this is the outcome of critical thinking skills for a security professionals, which we have already discussed. And in the next lecture, in the next module probably, you will be learning some different concepts. And finally, we have finished another section. Congratulations to you, and I hope you attempt the quiz which you are going to face in the next lecture. So let's meet in the next module.